I needed this episode so badly this week. Nanny and my house flooded twice, which is like, it's Passover week, so why shouldn't we have a plague happen to us twice? But I got to have this awesome interview with two of my really good friends. One of them is a new friend. You know her from Summer House, Hannah Berner. She's a video content creator. She's amazing. She also has her own mental health podcast called Berning in Hell, which you should definitely listen to. And my old friend, Gabrielle Bluestone. She's done amazing interviews with Susan Miller, Lindsay Lohan, and Pierce Brosnan recently, so you can find those online. She is one of the stars and producers of Netflix FYRE, the good documentary. Sorry, Hulu, but like, it's the better one. And yeah, we also have our live show coming up this week, which makes this week amazing. It's Sunday now. The show is on Thursday, April 25th at 7:30 p.m. Doors open at 7. It's at Stand Up New York on the Upper West Side. We added some more tickets so more of you can come, and we really want to hang out with you. I'm going to be on the 10 o'clock show, so I'm going to be hanging out there after the show and meeting and greeting with all of you for no extra cost to the ticket. And if you want even less of a cost to your ticket, use our promo code HowCome at standupny.com. And yeah, get your booties to the show. It's going to be a grand old time. This episode was a fucking blast, and we have Patreon extras because we just sat around and giggled the whole time. So if you want to hear those extras and you're not finished listening to us have the best time, go to patreon.com/howcome and support the podcast. We make all this great content for you for free, and we make a little more content for money so we can keep running the podcast. So yeah, this episode, like I said, it's amazing. You're going to love it.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Great. Hey guys, welcome back to How Come. I am very pumped for this episode. You know the song Make New Friends but Keep the Old? One is silver and the other's gold. Charlotte, you know that song?
Oh, it's my favorite song.
And isn't it truer than true?
The most true.
The most true. So today, that song couldn't be more appropriate because I'm interviewing a new friend and a very old friend. She's like 90. No, I'm just kidding. My new friend is Hannah Berner. She is host of the comedy mental health podcast Berning in Hell and star on this season of Summer House on Bravo.
Hannah Berner.
Welcome, Hannah.
Thanks for having me, Remy.
Thank you for being here. And my very old friend, who is not actually old in age, I've just known her since I was like 11, I think. She is a writer and executive producer of FYRE, The Greatest Party That Never Happened on Netflix, Gabrielle Bluestone.
I just want to know if I'm the silver friend or the gold friend.
I don't know. Like, what would you prefer?
I prefer gold earrings.
Could I be platinum?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. That's
but
great.
I still want to be gold. I owned it.
You're the queen of owning it.
Thank you.
Really I'm loving this season of Summer House because of you.
It makes me so happy. When I met Remy, you don't know if people watch shitty reality TV, so I wasn't going to go like, hey, by the way, but she mentioned something about Bravo, and I was like, hey, I have a secret.
Yeah, because you weren't on it yet.
They don't let you tell anyone. Like, it's really, and I have a loud mouth, so everyone I see, I'm like, oh my God, I want you to tune in, but you've been enjoying it.
I've been really enjoying. Gabby, you also watch a lot of Bravo.
Every show.
That makes me so happy.
This is the third season, right?
Yeah.
This should have been the first season. I wish
I
they just got rid of the first
agree.
two.
It takes a while for a show to get its shit together.
And realize they need to fire
Cast correctly, yeah.
There are no actual New Yorkers until you.
Thank you.
You're the first New Yorker on a show about the Hamptons.
I mean, my grandpa's had a house in Shelter Island since the 70s. Like, it's just part of New York culture that if you're in the city, you go out to Long Island.
You summer.
Get some beach. You summer. And that's where I learned how to play tennis, and we also bonded about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gabby and I played tennis as children together, and Charlotte also played tennis. You guys went to Virginia Beach together, right?
We did.
I
forgot
about
that.
Oh, that's
We
some
were really
fancy
intense
shit.
for a while.
Yeah.
We worked at the same tennis club, going to the Hamptons every summer.
Yeah.
Tennis players are psychotic, and that's why I feel like we bond.
Yeah, and I feel like I think I talked about this on your podcast, but that I lack mental toughness.
And you're so self-aware.
But like literally, like I've always been like pretty good naturally at sports. Like Gabby and I figure skated together. Like I picked it up pretty quick. But like the second I pick it up, and then there's like one
tiny
difficulty,
bit of pressure.
one tiny bit of pressure, one kind of competition or whatever. Like I'm out.
Tennis will test you to your physical and emotional limits. I mean, it's the loneliest sport. You're just like a crazy person alone on one side of the court talking to yourself.
Literally.
Like I become the
Unless you play
craziest
doubles.
version of myself.
And then you hit your partner in the back of the head with a serve sometimes,
100%.
which I did.
I've been, yeah.
It is great to have
Sometimes
someone to
on
blame.
purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When you're singles, you've no one to blame, which sucks.
Yeah.
That's the only way you stay sane in team sports. When you lose, you go, that fucking girl, Stephanie, couldn't get her free throw together.
That's the difference between improv and stand-up for me. Like I started in improv, and like I'd go to shows and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, that show fucking sucked, and it was because of the team, or the show was great, but it was because of the team. And either way, like you don't know, was I good? Like I don't know. And then stand-up, you're like, oh, I bombed.
You know when you
I
lose.
bombed.
But I love that you brought that up, because tennis and stand-up are so similar. I dated a stand-up, and he was like, oh, it's tough to go, I'm away every weekend, and then like I'm training all week, basically like 15 sets a week. And I'm like, you're speaking to the choir.
I'm at the gym doing mics.
Just lifting that set, set. But I was like, yeah, growing up every day I train, and then on the weekends I travel for tournaments, and I'm alone. And then when I lose, I don't want to talk to anyone. When you bomb, you don't want to talk to anyone. Like, I get it.
Yeah. Your ex was on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to say who, but we
I
talked
actually didn't
about
listen to it.
something where I had said that I think I was like laugh shamed by my mom, and like I couldn't like, no, but literally, like she'd be like, you laugh so loud or whatever. And then there was another thing, when I played tennis, I would grunt, and she'd go, yeah, you have to laugh.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But when
I just laugh shamed myself with the
you
mic.
did. You did. You're like,
I
it's
was like,
too loud.
No, this is an important point you're making.
Yeah, and no, so my mom, when I grunted or whatever once, she was like, that's not a real grunt or whatever. Or like, oh, you really grunt like that? And it just made me be like, oh, should I not?
It's like having
is
an
this
orgasm and
bad?
a guy being like, are you faking that?
Yeah. Or is that really how you sound? And you'd be like, should I
Also,
not?
like, I don't know how I sound. It's a reaction to the moment, that when you're in the present moment, you want it to come naturally.
Totally.
When you're out, like even Maria Sharapova with her grunting, people focus on it so much. And granted, yeah, part of it is like, but guys grunt too.
Yeah.
Guys definitely grunt, but God forbid the girls are grunting.
Yeah.
It's like me dropping the F-bomb and stuff, or talking about dicks, or talking about farting. It's like these things have to be destigmatized, because women can do whatever the fuck we want.
100%. Did you ever play any team sports, either of you?
I was on swimming team, but that wasn't
But
like
that's-
a real team. Yeah.
I played team sports, but I turned them into individual sports and get in trouble. So that's why I ended up with tennis. I was
Yeah.
like playing softball, and I would pitch and then like try to get the ground ball and then try to run and tag the girl out. And the other parents were like, this girl is a ball hog. And you know what? That shows some things people hate you. And then you play tennis and people are like, this girl's really independent.
Yeah. So you just have to like find the world in which you fit in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also just want to throw in there that she was going to go pro and has played on a boys team.
Yeah, I think when I was 16, I played for the Beacon School on the Upper West Side, and they didn't have a girls' team, so I was on the guys' team, and we won the city championship, and there was issues. This is the first time that, like, the coaches have an issue when we won. They go, it's not fair that you got this girl ringer on your team. Because, like, we would have put our girl ringers on our team.
What?
And it, like, caused this weird
We've just had these
controversy.
amazing girls waiting in the wings that like, we weren't using.
Yeah.
And now we're going to bring it up.
So it was this incredible controversy that made me realize, like, holy shit, sexism is still a thing. Even though
Totally.
tennis is not a physical, like, contact sport. And they were trying to say that it was a lose-lose for the guys, that, like, if they beat me, it's like, well, they beat a girl, and if I win, it's really bad. But I would argue it's a lose-lose, me playing against these, like, 14-year-old boys who don't... I was playing international tennis. I was ranked top 15 in the nation.
Damn.
So when I'm playing these guys, if I were to lose to them, I'd kill myself. Yeah. So, like, it was this weird interaction of, like, just because you're a man, you're playing... This is a mental game. I will fuck with your head until you want to cry and break your racket.
Were the guys on your team weird to you?
The guys on my team loved it.
That's
the guys on my
nice.
team would fuck with other guys. Like, we'd get on the court and the guy would be like, hey, take it easy on her, knowing that the guy was going to get, like,
like
really
psychotic.
really
Yeah.
abused.
Yeah.
Because I trained with guys my whole life.
Okay.
So also I was used to being with men in a way where it was like not sexual. It was like we're just training and I want to be accepted for my skills. Every now and then I have a crush on like one of the hot ones.
Yeah. See, okay, this is where Gabby and my tennis life come in. Like we
Yeah, you
mostly
guys-
played with boys.
Yeah.
Can you say like yes, or
Yes.
so? Okay, great. She's just like
Boys.
Gabby's
She's like,
just
she's lying. She's lying.
She's just nodding. So yeah, we played on like a mixed team, and like I feel like I was crushing on boys all the time, so that like my tennis game would fall behind because I'd be thinking about what skirt am I going to wear? Am I going to wear makeup? Am I going to let it like stream down my face like this
And
mascara?
tennis guys are
I was
hot.
the opposite. I was like, I need to play well so these boys notice me.
Oh,
It drove
that's
me.
what you were doing.
but were you beating them?
I was like a decent tennis player. It was
And
more I'm like a perfectionist, so I was like, I need to hit every ball really well. I don't care if I win or not, but like my form has to be perfect and I have to do everything
It's so
perfectly.
funny. I was the opposite. Like they called like winning ugly was my thing. Like I didn't care how I won. I would underhand serve. I would do like I would be insane. I'd be the ugliest player as long as I won. Like I would start hitting lefty if like I was like I didn't give a shit.
Hilarious.
Like my strokes were not considered beautiful by any means.
Okay, so now I'm like, wow, Gabby was impressing the guys with skill. I should have been doing that all along.
Now you're regretting everything.
But we literally like we'd have crushes on our instructors, and
The instructors are always so hot. They're like these like foreign or just like college dudes,
None of them have their shit together, so
No.
they're very accessible.
and they're
but
perfect
you
bodies.
think that they're so cool.
and they tell you what to do. You're like, do I need to bend more?
They can get you free snacks from the snack bar.
The first person that went down on you was a tennis instructor
So
and on a
true.
tennis court.
Was it good?
Exactly. Okay, so this is a story. We were away on vacation. My mom always wanted Charlotte and I to be like active on vacation, not just like losing our mojo.
She'd make you run the treadmill.
Like she made a tennis appointment for 8:00 every morning just to be sure that your little 16-year-old wasn't getting fucked up at night.
Miss
Like she's
Casimir.
got to wake up in the morning and play tennis for
Brutal.
2 hours. But ooh, the boy was fine. Walker, if you're out there, still one of the hottest people I've ever hooked up with. Yeah, he was like this older instructor, and I was like, this is great incentive to wake up in the morning. And like throughout the week we fell in love. And so,
Would you like talk
for
to him
so
during
I
the
thought,
lessons?
yeah. And Charlotte like hated it because like he was like giving me attention. She'd be like, I'm 10 and I'm working on my forehand.
I was like, I need to play USTA matches when I get back. Pay attention.
But yeah, we ended up hooking up, and then one night he was like, meet me at the tennis courts, and I was like, okay.
That's hot.
Yeah. And so we were making out, and then he went down on me, and that had never happened to me before. And
Were you not scared?
I was terrified.
like you pee with that thing.
I was terrified, and my legs were shaking. Like, and nobody had ever told me about. Like, I guess I knew other people were doing oral, but it was always like girls blowing guys. Like, none of my friends ever came to me like, I got this amazing head. Like that wasn't happening.
Yeah, there wasn't even a word for it.
Yeah, and like he
Also, going down on that's a verb. Let's get a word for it that
Yeah.
we're using.
And also, these
was
were
licking
not
my
like
pussy.
romantic. These were not like romantic stories that you were hearing. I feel like we often heard stories about like girls in cabs on the way to homecoming.
Yep,
It was never like
exactly.
with your boyfriend who you love.
yeah,
And
or like somebody who wants to pleasure you, not just somebody who wants to like get all up in your vag and look and then tell his friends about it after.
yeah, it's always like our performance. It's never about their performance.
Totally. So I was terrified the whole time, and afterwards,
Did you ever think you're gonna tell him no? Like I don't want to do it.
No, because I always had like this like checklist mentality that I was just like, okay, I'll just get it over with, and then like eventually like I'll get good at it when the time comes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh great, okay, this is happening to me. I'm going to sloppy third with a boy on my end.
Sloppy third.
Hadn't gone to sloppy third. Like I hadn't had sex yet. I hadn't given a blowjob yet. Like it was really nerve wracking, and my legs were shaking, and it was so scary. And then afterwards, he's like, was that the first time that's ever happened to you? And I was like, no.
You're like I'm a slut. No,
I love that. This happens every day.
I do want
Since
to.
I'm 5.
I do want to ask, what's the difference between third and sloppy third?
Third is fingering and handies. sloppy third is face on gins.
I always say third base is showing him how messy my room actually is. That's my tweet.
That's your tweet.
Yeah.
That's true intimacy.
That's true intimacy.
When Ben and I first hooked up, he came to my house, and the most beautiful romantic thing he said to me was, "Oh, I have the same plate with old ketchup on it in my room."
Oh my God. But that could be a disaster because I kind of want to do to us his shit together if my shit's not together.
It's been nice though because it's like both of us like policing each other like every other
like you're
day.
trying to
Like
help each
I'm
other.
the lazy, he's the lazy.
I don't want a judgy guy who's like, "Oh, you forgot your keys again."
I know I
Typical.
shouldn't be taking romantic lessons from Silence of the Lambs, but there was a really good explanation, I think, of roller pigeons in that movie where he was saying there are deep divers and regular diver roller pigeons, and if the deep divers mate, then their child will crash into the ground. So you need like one of the high
Oh, you need
flyers and the low
balance.
flyers. Yeah.
Interesting.
So Hannibal
are you
Hannibal
coming at
Lecter.
Remy's relationship right now?
No,
No, she's saying that we're
I'm gonna say one of you is gonna murder the other one.
I love that. I can't wait to watch it. on
maybe watch out, Mrs. DeMarco.
But it's funny now that we're older, like 27, we're not dealing with first. We've all had like different sexual experiences. I do like to think of the bases in an emotional way of like, when do I tell him my trauma from childhood? Like
Yeah.
that's what I care about when I talk to my friends now. It's like, you guys are gonna fuck, but like, where are you at emotionally with him? Like, do you talk? Do you show him? Do you FaceTime with no makeup? I think that's second base.
Yeah. And if you can't do that, he's not the one
He's
for
not the
you.
one for
That's
you.
your tweet. That's your tweet.
I have a story like that actually. I had been dating someone like seriously, and but for some reason, so I went to Burning Man, and he insisted on
For some reason, I went to Burning Man.
Well,
okay.
yes, I can't tell you why I did, but he insisted on picking me up from the airport, which was like a very sweet romantic thing to do. But I was coming off a week in the desert. I hadn't showered. Like I didn't have any clean clothes or makeup.
Raw.
So I had like an hour before I had to go to the airport for my flight, and I went to a salon in Reno and got my hair blown out and my nails done, and then played it off like, oh no, I just got off the plane. Like this is what
is
I
me.
look like. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm only wearing mascara. Like I didn't do
How
anything
long in the
for this.
relationship was that?
Like probably 6 months in. It just seemed like the normal thing that I had to do. Like, oh, I'm not gonna.
Deep down, were you like
come
pissed that you
unshowered.
had to do it at all? Like kind of annoyed?
It was a weird thing because like I wanted to accept this romantic gesture. Honestly, I would rather that he not bothered and like I go home and then we meet up later.
I always
Yeah.
found with guys that I was most insecure about because there was something off with us. Like they weren't making me feel like seen or valued. I always felt like I had to wear makeup.
Totally. Like
That's what I meant by the tweet. Like I didn't mean like the guy did anything wrong. It's just like when you feel, sometimes I feel prettier without makeup around the right guys.
Yeah,
Like I definitely
definitely.
feel, and then like, when I do wear makeup sometimes it's just a different side to me, but it's not prettier or less pretty.
yeah.
But like when a guy makes you feel beautiful with no makeup, it just feels safe. and
It's
it
so
feels
nice.
calm.
Yeah, and it's the expectation too that I think, I mean, is a societal thing. Like I think about I don't know if you both watch Mrs. Maisel,
I need to watch it.
but basically like it's in the 60s and like she goes to sleep with a full face of makeup on or whatever, and then her husband goes to sleep, and then she goes to the bathroom, takes off her makeup, and then she returns and goes to sleep, and then she wakes up an hour before him, puts on her makeup, gets back into
Do you
bed.
remember at camp? She was actually a tennis player too. There was a girl in our bunk or in one of the bunks
Yeah.
who would wake up. It was all girls, and she would wake up an
Yes.
hour early
Yes.
and do makeup and then pretend she had woken up like that. I don't know. I don't know who she was.
And
impressing.
even for other women, though, it's saying like I'm the ideal type of woman. Hannah, you are very different from most of the women that Bravo casts. You're the first one I've seen to not wear makeup several times, which I am real proud of and real
Thank
excited
you.
for because I'm no makeup Rem.
I love that you noticed that.
Yeah, and you still look great and stuff. And
It's
you
because I was tan, but yeah, thank you. It helps. It helps.
tan towels, you guys don't use the sun.
Oh, sorry. wait, go back to that point.
Like you literally got shamed for not being girly enough like 2 episodes ago. Has that been something that you've noticed throughout your entire life, that people think that you're not girly enough because you're an athlete?
Wow, this is turning into a therapy session in the best way because so many times people try to put women in a box.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. And like, if you're too successful or too bossy, people find issues with it.
Yeah.
And if, when you're doing well, people try to bring you down, guys and girls.
Yeah.
And I think on the show, I had a real issue with this girl, Lindsay, who, let's be honest, she's girlified herself. So she was like very cute, beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Naturally, really
She was like
pretty.
giving us Kristen Cavallari realness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So then she got a boob job done. Nothing against boob jobs. Then got her hair platinum blonde. Nothing against dyeing your hair platinum blonde. I did that. I regretted it. Yeah. But she clearly wanted to change something about herself to make herself feel more girly and accepted by society.
That's what I think. It's like to fit the fuck in. And especially in that like Hamptons culture, like, did you ever feel like we had to like keep up with the Joneses or like be different?
We were in an interesting spot, I think, because we were out there and we were city kids going out to our parents' house, but we were also working at a tennis club with all locals. We were hanging out with East Hampton high school kids. We were in a very weird in between. But I was just thinking about this, not to get too, into therapy, but
no, you can never get too.
I think her whole podcast is on mental health.
Well, then to delve right
I want to
in.
get into the darkness.
Yeah, let's get dark.
I think people tend to be upset by other people, like they're upset by things that they are bothered by in themselves. So that makes a lot of sense with kind of Lindsay, challenging the way that you present yourself because she was so uncomfortable with that. And I've never met her, and there's no armchairs on my chair, but I'm getting a little armchair psychologist here.
Well, it's funny because when I confronted her, because basically if you haven't seen the episode, she was saying stuff like, oh, you dress like a boy, you're not feminine enough.
She's like, oh, I love that you're wearing a skirt tonight. You're finally a girl.
And it was so
And also
absurd.
trying to say that you had no game in dating.
Also, it's like, look, I have to say, I was playing chess. That bitch is playing checkers. I knew what the fuck I was doing. But I think that, I have fun with flirting and I joke and I don't take it very seriously. And she was like, you need to learn how to flirt. And I was like, you need to learn how to let me have fun. You need, life is boring and it's fun when a guy who's like relatively tall is in your vicinity and you could just fuck with him just because it's like you're feeling the hormones and you're having a good time.
Yeah.
And so then final straw, she went up to my dad and said, we're trying to girlify her, which you don't see, which was really nice. My dad pulled me aside after and was like, don't change yourself for anyone. Aww. Which is very nice for everyone who has daddy issues, including myself, to hear from your own father.
Yeah.
Arguably, he wants me to stay his little tennis player forever, which is, I'll talk to my therapist about that another time.
Yeah.
But with her, I think she's on the wrong side of history.
Sure.
With gender roles. It's like people gave women these gender roles before we were allowed to vote and all this stuff. We have to look a certain way. And it's women are different now, honey. We don't have to. Feminine is changing. The idea of what feminine is. It's so much more complex. And I ultimately just think it's being comfortable in your own skin as a woman, whatever that is, because that confidence and belief in yourself just goes so much further than fitting in.
Totally. I just remember growing up and being like, okay, I'm gonna have to be a certain type of woman if I ever want to land a man, and a man is
what
gonna.
kind of woman did you think you'd have to be?
Just one who didn't curse, one who didn't talk about my vagina on a podcast.
Love it.
Just a quieter one, one who was probably in a more serious job, or had no job and just was going to be the perfect one to rear children or whatever. And now it's I
love that you said rear.
Yeah, I'd fart them out of my ass and then I'd bring them up. But now it's oh my God, look how the world has changed, that you find the person that fits with you. I used to be oh, I have to hide who I am, when I'm flirting, up front. And then eventually I'll have to trick them into dating me, and then I can show my true self.
You have to trap his ass, and then once he's trapped, then next thing you know, you fart in his face accidentally, and it's well, we're stuck with me. But no, you got to fart in the beginning,
day one, and then he's I'm down, and you're I love you.
I farted in a guy's face when he was going down on me.
Stop.
Well, I was you're trying too hard to orgasm, you're trying and you're pushing in weird places, and then it just came out and it ruined the mood for that day. But I think how I handled the situation, I think made him like me more.
Yeah.
Because it's confidence to fart in a dude's face and then be like, yeah. And it was a little one. It wasn't I wasn't trying to fart in his face. It was a little bit of air.
Yeah.
I'm also not big on guys going down on me. I know that's so crazy. It's my own issues, if we're going to get into it.
I mean, I'm not saying that from a place of judgment.
That's super common. I primarily come from clitoral orgasms. Mm-hmm. And I think that a guy putting his face in my vagina, first couple times hooking up is so intimate.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just like tell him exactly how to make me orgasm by fingering me, because I know how to. I know what to tell him.
Oh, you can digital get down?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay,
coach.
great.
I'm like left, right, slow, fast, done. And then I'm like, I train him, and then he's great.
Have you always known what to do for yourself in that arena?
I didn't orgasm until I was 18.
What? I mean, I was 28. I don't know why I'm like wow.
Oh, interesting. Somebody's a fucking
How
prude.
did it happen?
Like my parents raised me very like gender neutral, and that like they wanted me to be kind, hardworking,
Yellow
good
room.
at sports. Yellow room.
Yeah.
Also, part of my self-esteem was through tennis. That was what my ego was. I never thought about like, am I pretty today? I was like, am I going to win my match today? That's just what my mind was obsessed with.
Yeah.
Therefore, like the reason why I don't care to wear makeup a lot is because I don't look at myself that much. My self-esteem is like in other fucked up things.
Sure.
It's just like I put my anxiety into other things, not my weight and my face.
Yeah.
More like, am I funny enough?
Am I winning?
Yeah. It's fucking sick in the head.
Do I have a follower today who's new?
And that's why I'm like, you can say like I'm very type A and like driven for success. And I also think that's why Lindsay had animosity towards me, because I think that she had put in like all this money and work, and I was just like waking up and like farting and just being like
comfortable with yourself. And how unnerving is that when you're not comfortable with yourself?
And I'm not shaming people that are putting that effort in. I want them to just look inward and be like, why am I doing this? And maybe there's other stuff that I have to work on, like maybe feeling accepted by my family, or you know, working on past breakups, so that you feel that confidence, because there's nothing more beautiful than someone who's comfortable.
Well, you know, my mom pointed something out to me recently that kind of blew my mind, and she's mentioned this a couple of times, but like these girls that I had known growing up and even now who were, you know, considered the hot girl of the group, my mom was always like, you know, there's nothing special about these people, like they're just confident, like that's the only difference.
But they've been also given confidence, because the second you see them, you're like, oh, pretty, I trust you. That's like a literal.
Well, I think that might be a chicken or egg kind of situation.
It's like tall men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had, after like a bad breakup, I had tons of jokes just about like how I only fuck with guys 6'2" and up, and I kind of convinced myself that I really believed it, because they make me feel dainty, and like I always feel like they could pick me up, and I feel so feminine. But then I realized like objectifying men was just me putting up a wall emotionally. Like I've dated guys 6'6", I've dated guys who are 5'7". I've really been around the block. I fuck. You fuck. but I realized that it was just me like objectifying them, and that a lot of tall dudes like are so, they say shorter guys might be better in bed because they like have to try a little harder. And tall guys sometimes like their personalities are so shitty, because like
also
every
the penises don't line up with your body.
Or if it does match up, like this last guy I dated, it literally felt like I was giving birth every time we fucked, and I couldn't do it. That's a problem for me. I don't like huge dicks, and I'm sick of people making big dicks like a thing in this society.
Yeah, because they're also not very integral to female orgasms.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think the shape, the like
I
way
think the
dick
shape, yeah,
moves?
sure. Like dependent on like how your clit is internally like rotated. Like maybe it can meet your G spot or whatever. But like it's like a puzzle piece thing.
I was dating a guy with, I'm gonna say 8 to 9 inches and like thick.
Wow.
Ooh. And then now I'm with a guy who's like much smaller, but he has this like thing where his dick goes up.
Ooh.
And it feels so much better than the other guy.
And I think some women would be in pain by the thing that goes up. Like it's just how your body fits with that body.
But also, ladies, if a guy's kind of small, you could do Pilates on that dick. when it's big, you're just like, but when it's small, you're like, I will do whatever I feels like on you, and you're gonna love it.
A guy's ability, like if he's a good dancer, that's a better indicator of how it's going to be than his
and
dick
kissing
size
too.
Oh yeah,
if you're like a
very
conscientious
important.
kisser, you can usually tell that he's going to be good in bed.
I also think he's a that's a tough word. Conscientious. I can't say it, so I'm just gonna move past that. But that shows how he is emotionally too. How he takes care of you emotionally.
Totally. I was just thinking, okay, so you guys both got confidence from playing tennis. I got a lot of insecurity from tennis and sports in general, and I think now that I'm going through therapy, I'm realizing I was the first girl in my family. And that was something that was really exciting after 2 boys. And they always wanted to like girl me up and stuff. And I was a really like great ballet dancer.
Did they call you princess?
My nickname was Pretty Remy.
Yeah, that'll fuck you up.
That fucks you
That
up.
will fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
Because what if you're not pretty?
What if I'm not? Then who am I? And I played at this tennis club before the one that Gabby and I did in the Hamptons. And I was 6 years old, and everybody got medals at the end of the season. Most improved, most consistent. And guess what your girl got? Best dressed.
Did you want that?
I mean, I was like really flattered when I got it because I'm 6 and I've been told my whole life that I'm pretty, and I'm being told again that I'm doing something good with my
Being
looks.
pretty puts you in such a box.
Yeah, and then my mom yelled at the guy, and I was like, "Why are you yelling at him?"
Well, good for her.
Yeah, no, that was really good. But I always would think about it with sports, and even when I started developing in ballet, and like I was like going through puberty, I'd start sweating, my face would get red during dance, and suddenly I'm not pretty while I'm dancing. I'm not pretty when I'm playing tennis.
Yeah, and pretty's a social construction that's like, I mean, right now I have friends who are like, I have no hair from the eyebrows down. I'm like, that must be so painful and so hard to upkeep, but that's not natural. It's not natural beauty.
On that front, I used to always think about like, what did people do in the olden days?
They just
like, did
fucked
they just
with their
stay
bushes.
inside? Yeah, they just
They
fucked
didn't
with their
even
bushes.
shower regularly.
They didn't give a fuck because there was no beauty industry being like, you got to hide your bush. Also, your bathing suit was like a pantsuit, so it didn't matter.
Also, once I met a guy I was dating while I was playing tennis in college, like loved how my natural sweat smelled. And he wasn't like a weird creep.
No,
he
that's
was,
a thing.
He literally was, I'd be like, oh, I want to shower before like we hook up. And he'd be like, I like how you smell.
Yeah, if you're attracted to somebody, you're attracted to
You know
their
how
natural
confident
pheromones.
that makes you feel? Yeah, the natural pheromones when you're just like, I could literally just put my armpit in your face right now and be like, yeah, you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that.
Have you ever smelled someone's sweaty shirt because you missed them?
100%.
I do that for my dog. I always give her like an unwashed t-shirt when I go on vacation.
We're all such weird pet parents.
Yeah, like pet pheromones, I will snort my cat's.
I smell
Oh my
Grace's
God.
stomach.
I love her breath.
constantly.
Constantly.
I had a friend. I had a
yeah.
friend over the other day, and she was like, "Your dog's breath is really gross." And I was like, "Bitch, get out."
I love my cat's little fishy breath.
Yeah, shout out to all of our pets. Butter is Hannah's cat. She's
Yep.
so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Grace, my cat,
But she's not just
stunner.
pretty. She's not just pretty.
But that's fucked up of me.
Yep, that was pretty fucked up.
She's
Continue.
also athletic, and she sits
She's kind.
and she's kind, and she
Empathetic.
sits in a cool pose.
Okay, but Colette is very pretty. Not to brag.
Wait, Colette?
Is
That
her
is
is a
the
French
best
bulldog?
name.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's an athletic little girl. She's 25 pounds of
She
muscle.
is an athlete.
Do you think when you raise your daughter, you'll be able to not call her pretty princess?
Like, I can't even say that I would be the right person to raise a kid right now.
I think about
Let's
this
not.
a lot. I was reading something where it was like, it's much better to tell kids, like, not that you did a good job, but that you tried really hard. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to encourage the effort and the dedication
Well,
and the determination.
Don't you feel like growing up in this city, like you were expected to try a lot, but you had to have this facade of I didn't try at all?
Oh, yeah. You have to have like a detached cynicism if you want to survive in New York.
And like people would be like, oh, how'd you do on the test? Oh, I didn't study at all, but I got like an A. And they'd be, oh, that's cool.
Whereas you spent the last 2 weeks with a tutor, like studying really hard.
Your parents spent $2,000.
Yeah, I just came out of the desert and my hair just looks like this. I didn't try.
You know, when I get waxed, I used to get waxed for like a boyfriend. I would get angry at him during it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to talk to him for like that day because I'm like, you don't know what you did. And he's like, I didn't make you do anything. I'm like, you don't understand the pain I just went through for fucking you.
Yeah.
And that's why I started getting laser.
I was thinking about this the other day when we were in high school. Gossip Girl, the books came out way before the TV show, and those girls were always going to J Sisters. And we were in freshmen in high school.
And you guys live that life on Upper East Side.
Yeah, this is the least relatable bougie episode ever.
Yeah.
But I had friends. I had 14
When I
and
fucked
15.
that hot tennis pro Pedro.
When I was in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, but I had 14 and 15-year-old friends who were going to get waxed. They were not having sex.
Oh my
I
God.
doubt
Yep.
they had pubic hair.
Yep.
But it was
Oh
like
my
this
God.
thing
Their
that you
poor
had to
vaginas.
do if you wanted to be like an attractive woman on track to have those kind of
Did I
relationships.
tell you my first J Sister story? It was
No.
way before. It was before I got eaten out. It was literally I was 14 and I went with my friend. My friend was dating this guy and they were really sexually involved and stuff. And she was getting regular waxes and she's like, "You have to do this. Like this is part of being a woman. Like you have to get waxed." And I was like, "Okay."
Imagine guys having to get waxed every month.
Oh my god.
They can't even
Oh
get a
my
cold.
God.
Sorry, I don't mean to stereotype.
But yeah, we went and I got pants down naked in front of this woman. I've never been pants down naked in front of anybody else at this
It's
point.
so traumatizing.
And she walks in and she was like, your growth is not long enough. Like, leave and come back in a week. And so I was like, now I gotta get dressed and I don't even get to walk out here with a fresh vagina. Like, what the fuck?
Vagine.
But yeah, I have that same thing. I used to get really pissed when I was waxing or shaving or whatever. And then like I've shaved my butthole just for me recently.
Yeah.
And that feels so much better.
Sometimes you just feel like a little dirty. It's however you feel the sexiest. I also think it's like if you think me without my legs shaved is like that big of a turnoff that you don't want to fuck me, then we're not good together. I'm Italian. If I don't shave my legs for 2 days, you can tell.
Yeah.
And like it's exhausting and I'm busy.
Yeah.
It's not my priority. And also I'll have friends who make fun of me if I didn't and I'll be like, if you think a guy's not going to fuck me because my hair is a little, long on my leg, that's your problem, because I'm pretty sure that he's not going to care.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the part that's going to make him come. Like, I don't know who's fucking people's legs.
It's my amazing personality.
Your amazing personality makes them come too. You know what also makes people want to sleep over more? Good bedding. We have an exciting new promo.
Best sheets ever.
What kind of sheets we got?
Brooklinen.
Brooklinen.
I'm sorry if you don't like how I said that, Brooklinen.
Yeah,
It's
sorry,
Brooklyn.
Brooklinen. But we love Brooklinen sheets. I've got 2 sets now since we did our live panel with them a few months ago. If you haven't seen the live panel or heard it, you can get that on our Patreon. But these sheets are amazing. And here's a thought. You spend a third of your life in sheets, and it's time for a bedding upgrade. So after our live panel with Brooklinen, which was amazing, and we got to lay on the beds and hang out with all the companions who came out, I was like, whoa, I need new sheets. And we were like, hey, could you maybe sponsor this podcast? And they were like, yes. So now Charlotte and I are 2 proud owners of Brooklinen sets. They're amazing. Brooklinen basically took the concept of, I want amazing hotel quality sheets, but I don't want to pay the price for them. They're unreal. They're machine washable. They are the winner of the best online bedding category by Good Housekeeping. They have 35,000 5-star reviews, more than any other online bedding company. 500,000 happy sleepers and counting. You had a sad day the other day because you had to wash your sheets and use your old sheets.
It was the saddest of days.
Yeah.
I just slept in my old ones, and I can't go back now.
Yeah.
I sweat I'm so disgusting. But I was so sweaty. I was like, I just can't go back to my old sheets. Like, I had the best sleep in my Brooklyn sheets every night.
And what's crazy is when I first came to your house, I loved your old sheets, and now I find them heinous.
No, me too.
So you guys, do you want your own Brooklyn sheets? I think you do. Our Brooklinen sheets are the best, most comfortable sheets we've ever slept on. And now it's time for your upgrade. Brooklinen.com is giving an exclusive offers just for our listeners. Our beautiful companions will get 10% off of your first order and free shipping when you use promo code HowCome at brooklinen.com. I also think they have a very clever name because they started in Brooklyn and like it's linen. And so it's spelled BROOKLINEN.com. Again, that is 10% off your first order and free shipping. Promo code HowCome. The only way to do it is to use that promo code at brooklinen.com. That is brooklinen.com. Promo code HowCome. Brooklinen, they really are the best sheets ever.
They really are. What a punny name.
What a funny name. Back to us. So I felt most of my life, Upper East Side, Hamptons life, whatever, that we're like maintaining this facade. Gabby has spent a lot of your professional career now talking about people's facades.
Love a good facade. Love to pierce a facade.
Like, first of all, this is the chick that got Billy McFarland re-indicted from an article.
Shouldn't have been scamming.
Shouldn't have been scamming. But like, he had this whole facade, and it wasn't just how he looked, it was who he was friends with, where he said he came from. Do you think he's like a special person of the time, or is this like symptomatic of everything that like is everybody facade concerned?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I think that he is an example of an extreme version of what everyone is doing. And I've been thinking about this a lot in terms of social media and the fact that Instagram is basically just a resume of your personality that you're putting out for other people.
Oh my God,
to
that's so true.
Get, figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And his whole thing was that he wanted to be a part of this stratified lifestyle. He wanted to be a jet setter. He wanted to be someone who took private jets and hung out with Kendall Jenner. And he did what he had to do to live that lifestyle.
Kendall Jenner yacht party, $10,000.
It sounds like the Anna Delvey story.
Very much so. The Soho scammer.
I don't know her.
Girl.
Spill.
You explain. You're the scam queen.
Oh, thank you. Anna Delvey was a woman who is currently on trial. She had proposed, I believe it was kind of like a Soho House style, like private arts member club. And so she was soliciting investments.
She said she was related to some kind of royalty.
Yeah, she was supposed to be some kind of European heiress, which she was not.
Yeah.
And she was living for free at a hotel, claiming that she was going to pay for it or that her investors were going to cover it.
She was going to wire
and
the
then
money.
not. Yeah, very much a Billy McFarland line.
Yeah.
Wiring, there's always something bad when someone says wire.
Yeah.
And I'll arrange a comment later.
Yeah. But she had like gone on vacation and said that it was going to be on her, and then her credit card was mysteriously declined, and her friend had to cover this like $70,000 bill that never got paid back.
And she was like bopping from different hotels.
So you're just
In the
lying
city.
to everyone all the time.
She was a straight up. And so it's kind of like Instagram where people create this whole like construction of an identity that isn't fully them. And then it's like, where does it end? Because are you living your real life? Or are you trying to still fake what that is?
Totally. I know that I felt very Keeping Up with the Joneses and facade.
But we were the Joneses, which is like the crazy part.
Do you think so?
I mean, we grew up on the Upper East Side. We were going to the Hamptons every weekend. Like, we were in that lifestyle.
She
makes
a good point. Like, people were watching Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
And Gossip Girl was based on like your kind of life.
Totally.
So like, but you guys within it, you guys were trying to keep up with yourselves, I still think.
Yeah.
Everyone's still trying to be the like.
You're trying to be the top. I grew up thinking I was poor and ugly because of the beauty and wealth that was around.
When anyone else would be like, I want to be like Remy.
I once got driven home from swim practice by someone's mom who was like on the board of Horace Mann, and she turned onto my block and like looked at me and was like, "Oh, you live here? I really thought you lived in a townhouse," and like apartment shamed me.
So fucked.
When I was moving into my apartment in college, my mom made me build all my furniture because that's you get cheap furniture and you build it or whatever.
IKEA, hell yeah.
And I went to BU, which is like a notoriously like snobby, rich kids school or whatever. And I never felt like I fit in with all those people because we went in the elevator after and I asked this girl and her mom, "Oh, how's your move going?" And they're like, "Good, it was easy. How was yours? You guys look sweaty." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just built all my furniture. I'm so proud of myself," or whatever. And they're like, "Why wouldn't you pay somebody for that?"
I will say going to college made me realize how fortunate I was. It's easy to lose track of that. We weren't in the 1%, but we were definitely in the 5 or 10% growing up.
Yeah.
But also,
going to
the
college
5% in New York City is different than the world. But I do think there's a lot of guys out there who, especially in this generation, with women doing so well, feel so much pressure to look like a provider. Like, even if on Summer House, you see, like, Carl freaking out that he doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
And it's like, calm down. Like, there are women out there who, like, are not trying to just find men based on their financial situations.
I think
there are women out there for who being on a Bravo show is more than
It's
enough.
more than
like, you don't
enough.
even need a job.
I know so many guys out there and girls who, like, they say they're, big, fashion models, when it's like your parents are paying for your apartment.
Yep.
You maybe did one shoot last year. Or like a guy who's
you
like,
do a lot of shoots and your parents are paying for that, but to everybody else, it looks like you're really doing well. Or people are buying likes and followers.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I have legitimate friends who are full-time influencers getting all their money from Instagram, who have bought all their followers and buy all their likes, but they're investing all the money they get from brands into them
Back
getting
into their-
so like it's a whole scam. But now brands are starting to catch up with this, and there's technologies now to see what percentage of your followers are real or fake. But it's important because you're influencing people, and people who are influential should have a reason they're influential, whether it's because you're really funny or cool, not just because you have money.
Yeah.
And I think that I know a lot of guys who are starting apps and they walk around introducing themselves, I have an app, and it's like, you don't have an app, you have a trust fund. I think this was such an incredible documentary to show people that, like, shit isn't what it seems. And it helps with mental health too.
Totally.
And even like with people's relationships and fucking and sex, it's like, you never know what's really happening.
Even college. I mean, look at the college admission scam. Some of those kids didn't even know that their parents had bought them in. There was one story. I want to double check her name. I think it's Jane Buckingham.
Okay.
She wrote a guide on parenting. And this was the parent who allegedly paid someone to take the ACT for her son and then requested that they send her a copy so that she could administer it to him at home in his bedroom.
Right.
And she believed that her son would believe that was a thing you
because
could
the
do.
kid is such an idiot and deserves to get into college.
Yo, the way you get better in life is through adversity, and these like rich parents need to let their kids fail.
I used to think that we were doing poorly because other people's parents would like essentially buy them a career, and I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm so behind.
How many girls own fashion brands that are making no money? I'm sorry for calling people out, but I'm just saying,
you
like,
have to.
Like, you feel good because your Instagram says founder of this bikini line,
or like these bloggers that are like, oh, you've all asked my secrets. I had $1 million. That's how I have such
or when
great
people are
fashion.
like, everyone's been asking about my daily regimen. No one's been asking about your daily regimen. No one asked. Literally zero.
But I love that you brought up the Carl Page flirtation thing, and like he didn't think it was like he wasn't manly enough, or like didn't have a job, so he can't be courting her or whatever. When all the girl wanted was a text over the weekend.
She didn't need dinner. She wanted a text during the week because they'd flirt on the weekends, and then during the week he would just like not put in any effort. And she's like, I can't just turn it on during the week if you want, because girls have to be emotional. Like, I don't want to just fuck you if I feel like you're not into me.
Also,
it doesn't turn me on.
You want somebody who's going to be able to be with you on the weird times or whatever. Like, I started dating Ben when I knew he was a struggling stand-up comic, but if you have faith in like the person you're with, they have talent, they have a future, whatever, like you'll be good. Like, it shouldn't be like
this is coming so full circle because all these people are doing these things to be liked. Girls are getting boob jobs to be liked. Billy McFarlane is saying he runs a company to be liked. When it's like, if you just accept who you are authentically, and like you met Ben when he was at his rawest, that's when you get real connection.
Yeah. And it's like you are going to make the realest friendships because they like your realest version of you. Gabby
Also,
knows me.
You like your realest version. You like your realest version of you.
Yeah.
Isn't your most happiness when you're like with your family, with your friends, and putting zero effort?
Yeah.
It's exhausting to perform your whole life.
Totally.
Like whether it's in the bedroom trying to be something you're not, or whether it's scamming an entire nation.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
I think that's one of the reasons you and I were such good friends and stayed such good friends over the years, is because you and I were very willing and excited to just be weird with each other.
Yeah.
And like make those jokes that we weren't sure anyone would laugh at, or, you know,
write
pull
a
out our
movie
free
about how Mick
flags.
Jagger is going to rise out of the ground and ask you to dance with him.
And Gabby, dance. This is a genuine fantasy that I had.
So funny.
I wanted
for
the Bruce
everyone,
Springsteen, Courtney Cox moment, but with Mick Jagger. I was like 14 years old.
This is a complex
Like, I need this
idea.
65-year-old man in my life.
No.
But also it takes place at, you know, the baseball field in East Hampton?
Yeah.
Where you now play artists and writers baseball game every year. The stage would erect out of that as we were smoking in the field, and Mick Jagger would say, Gabby!
The spotlight would shine down on
Why
me.
am I turned on right now?
Right?
It'd be pretty good.
Maybe we should make this movie.
I
We have
think-
a few more years while he's still
I know,
with us.
companions right in. Are you interested in this film?
Please at Mick Jagger.
But another moment in sports and sexism was you played on Artists and Writers. It's like a baseball softball game for noteworthy writers, artists against each other.
And there's some
for
big
charity.
time ones in the Hamptons.
Big time
Actually,
names.
I'm going to give a really quick history because it's actually kind of fascinating. It started, I think, in the 50s, 60s with like really cool artists who just happened to be out there, and they were just doing it for fun. Like Jackson Pollock would play. And
wow.
this is also before the Hamptons was so commercial. It was mostly farmland and, you know, who were the sisters? Grey Gardens, kind of.
Oh, Edie
like
and
dilapidation.
why don't we?
It was
little,
The Great Gatsby.
Little Edie, and it must be Big
And the
Edie.
other one.
It must be Big Edie. And they
Littler
weren't
Edie.
sisters. It was the mom. Anyway, we don't have to get into Grey Gardens, but
Anyway, this is like long, really cool history. And so I grew up kind of like enamored of this, you know, artistic thing. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something creative. And so I finally got the opportunity to play. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got there, and it was very much a boys' club. And when I say boys, I mean it's
old men
who have been doing
man
this
crew
for decades, and they had their lineup already. They took it very seriously. They wanted to win, so only the good players could play. And Carl Bernstein.
Isn't this for charity?
Yes.
Fucking joke.
So like, they would hit, but then they couldn't always run because they're so advanced in age. And so I got the opportunity to pinch run. I was not allowed to hit.
Yep.
I would have taken that baseball bat and hit him on the shin.
This was the second year that I played. The first year that I played, I was not actually put in the game because there was another blonde woman who looked somewhat similar to me. And she had been put in.
Can't have both.
And no, they thought we were the same person.
No,
She didn't realize that the two blonde women were two different people. So
and also
they
you don't feel comfortable to speak up because it's so fucking awkward.
I was by far the youngest person there. I didn't really know any like two people.
And they're people you respect, like Carl Bernstein did all the reporting on Watergate. Like,
he broke Watergate.
It's insane.
He broke my heart too.
I also would argue, going back a little to like being weird and stuff, that people reach out to me and they're like, oh, like, do you have any advice for like getting followers or getting successful or like a TV career? And I'm like, you got to be unique.
Be yours,
and the only way to be unique is to be your weird self.
Because there's
you're
nobody
trying
else.
To look, like, how many fashion bloggers are exactly the same? How many Billy McFarlands are out there? A shit ton. Like, Billy McFarland is only fascinating because he went so far with it. But it's like you're just being one of the billions of douchebags. No one actually knows who Billy McFarland is.
Totally.
He's just
I think Elon Musk is just Billy McFarland with a little more money. But
whoa, bold statement, Gabrielle.
I'm happy to expand. I will just say
about
the game. I stuck it out and I kind of kept myself visible in it. And this year they invited me to join the board. So now
that's amazing. No, you didn't get ticked off, and you showed like, I am supposed to be here, and I'm not going to make a scene. And it's about educating. The only way you could educate someone to show like women deserve to be in the same place is by being you and staying there.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And now I can invite other women to join and kind of diversify it a little bit.
That's how change happens.
Yeah, we have to lift each other up. That's a thing too, is I just see people like other women that like, they think that there can only be one woman in the room because that's how we've been treated. And so they're like, okay, I'm going to take that other woman down because I want to be the woman in the room. You guys, we got to bring each other up. Yeah, it's the way that society has treated us and our parents have treated us. You have a really interesting dynamic with your parents. Your dad was your coach, but also your mom taught you how to give a blowjob.
Whoa.
So she got mad at me because I wouldn't say my mom taught me how to give a blowjob, but I just remember sitting on my
mom gave you a blowjob.
My mom gave me a blowjob. We have a unique relationship. Yeah. But I was sitting on our like brownstone on the stoop in Brooklyn, and I remember I must have been like 14, and I'm the oldest daughter. I'm the firstborn. I don't have like an older sister to tell me this shit.
Yeah.
And I was a tennis player. I wasn't like out in the clubs, doing heroin like my other friends. Just kidding. That's not what Brooklyn kids do.
By the way,
Some
she
of them.
said
They do
doing
cocaine.
heroin and then mimed smoking a joint. The girl does not know how to do heroin.
I know. I was smoking a cigarette.
Oh,
while I was doing heroin.
Oh, great. Even better.
I was like, I don't know how to smoke a joint. But long story short, I remember being like, what's a blowjob? I also was like, what's being horny? Like, I thought horny meant like you started getting like horns.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and what's a blowjob? And I remember she was like, she was so cool about it. She was just like, you like suck on their penis. And I was like, but they pee from that. That's disgusting. And she like laughed and she's like, I know, but it's like part of like, it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
And she's like, you suck on it like a lollipop. She said she was the original Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
How old were you when you asked?
I wasn't young. I was probably like 14 or 15 or 13.
In that conversation, was she like, also there's a thing that guys can do to girls to make them feel good? No. Yeah. Did she tell you about masturbating? No. I actually orgasmed from a guy first. My first boyfriend when I was 17, he played on the boys' tennis team with me. So we had this cool relationship where like he was my doubles partner. So he really respected me like in sports. And we would just like want to hang out after matches and like couldn't stop talking and having fun. And next thing you know, we'd start kissing. And then like
we didn't even have sex, but like he was like a good friend, and I was like into him. So we had this cool thing, and like he started like he would like finger me, and like my legs would shake, and I wouldn't know what was happening, and like eventually I think it happened. But I didn't masturbate till college because I took a sex education class at the University of Wisconsin where they basically talked about it scientifically. They were like, if you stimulate the clitoris enough, you will hit a height, and that like it was very mathematical. Yeah. And I was like, okay, and I literally went home. And something I like saw turned me on, like something on Facebook. There was like a like sexy like video of someone making out or something, and I was like a little turned on. I remember I went into my bunk bed and I just and I literally did it. Like it just happened. And
top or bottom bunk? We need a visual.
Top, very top. So it was kind of dangerous.
Yeah, you could have squirted down onto your roommate.
I also if we're getting into this, I squirted for the first time this year.
Whoa.
By myself.
How?
By myself.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I could never I still have never vaginally orgasmed from sex.
A lot of people won't.
But I realized that if I stimulate my clitoris and I like use a toy at the same time and I orgasm together, I have like a vaginal clitoral thing happen. Yeah. And I squirted.
The thing that made me had my first internal orgasm, I talk about this all the time, was this toy from Sweet Vibrations. It's called the Perfect Match. It does internal and external stimulation. It's like amazing. They are sponsoring us all this season. So if you guys want your own sex toys, go to sweetvibes.toys and use our promo code HowCome for 15% off an already very affordable line of toys. I was really frustrated when I started this podcast that like I used a certain sex toy that costs a lot of money, and a lot of the people writing in would be like, yeah, I can't spend my next 6 months savings on a sex toy that I don't even know if it's going to work for me. Like, this is really difficult. The Girl's Best Friend is a very similar toy to that toy, and it's only like in like $40 to $50, maybe 30 to 50. Yeah. I don't know the exact, but it's like it's way cheaper. I'm way happier to sell this stuff. They also have a vibrator called the Tulips and vibrator called the Pixie, and Pixie is like kind of shaped like a little, I don't know, like when your fingers do a pinch motion, so you can like stimulate your nipples, you can stimulate like your anus, you could do anything. So if you guys want your own sex toys for way more affordable price, they're on Amazon too. If you're out of the country, a lot of people have asked that. You won't be able to use our promo code, but you will get access to these toys. But if you do want to use the promo code and you're in the US, go to sweetvibes.toys and use promo code HowCome.
And the Girl's Best Friend is $49.99. But you're getting 2 for 1 because it has the suction part. Yep. But also
a vibrating handle.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It sounds affordable.
It's affordable. That's like what a fuckable would be in The Good Place.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, affordable.
What a show.
Gab, you were an only child, so it's not like you were learning about sex from older siblings either. Like, what was your relationship like with your parents and talking about it?
We didn't really talk about it, but I was a super precocious kid. My mom has a story about how when I was like maybe 10 or 11 years old or even younger, she brought me to Borders, RIP, and told me like, don't go in this section. And she lost me and she knew exactly where to find me. She came down and I was like halfway through Valley of the Dolls. So I taught myself a lot of kind of life lessons that I then had to unlearn to have a healthy life. But also, the age that we came up in, I told you before, but like the first porn that I ever saw was Paris Hilton's sex tape.
Yeah.
Which was at a very
so
formative
appropriate
age.
For you, like just like celebrity scandal.
Yeah. And, I learned what a blowjob was from reading the Star Report. And so I think like the mid-aughts and early aughts was like a weird time for how women were presented as sexual objects.
Totally.
And so I definitely like knew what everything was, but it took me a long time to realize that like that wasn't actually like on the emotional side, not how things
it's hard
should
when
be.
you're young because you're so raw and like not sexualized yet, but then you're told that in the future you become a sex kitten and you're kind of like, what?
Or you see like Britney Spears and like Christina Aguilera and Mandy Moore, like they were all packaged little sex symbols, but also had to maintain this facade that they weren't sexual.
So I actually just read a biography of Britney Spears because I'm so fascinated by this whole Free Britney thing.
Yeah.
And that was that was her whole image. They wanted her to be this kind of like the virgin and the whore at the same time and let people kind of cast their own, aspersions of who she was. And by keeping her virginal, they were able to kind of market her for that long.
Yeah.
If they had just put her out as like kind of like a Pop-Tart, I think her career would have been over much earlier.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
But then, like, her and Justin break up, and suddenly it's like, well, Britney blew Fred Durst, and we're like, wait, what? I didn't even know that she was fucking, like, let alone blowing Fred Durst. Like,
and Fred Durst is so not like commercial hot boyfriend,
right? But and then we were all supposed to think, oh well, she's gross for doing that. But like, go ahead, go blow Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Like, be into whoever you're into. That was a huge thing for me too. Is like, I kept my virginity. Like, I lost my virginity. I kept it under wraps for a year because I was embarrassed of the guy that I was doing it with, that people were like, he's not smart enough. You're not dating. He's not hot enough, whatever. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be validated by my relationship with a man and the man that I'm with isn't good enough, then I shouldn't talk about this sex.
I had a weird kind of like dueling issue where it's like I wanted to wait to be in a relationship with someone or dating someone who I was into, and I wanted it to be kind of a special experience. But I also I was a senior in high school when I lost my virginity, but everyone I knew had lost their virginity before me, and I almost felt like there was something wrong with me. Like, why aren't I having sex? Everyone else is.
Were you like horny for sex? Like, were you ready that way?
No, it was like a life goal. Like, I wanted to get my period, have sex, lose my baby teeth. I actually wanted to break a bone too.
I did too.
It was the same kind of thing. It was like a checklist. I felt like that was what becoming an adult was all about.
Yeah. Never had a cast. Did you have a cast?
No, but I did break my humerus bone, and it was not fucking funny at all. But they put me in a sling.
Lame.
But it was like a keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. Where it's like, I got to be doing it. Like, why?
Not only do you have to look like the Joneses, act like the Joneses,
you gotta fuck like the Joneses.
Sorry,
I went ahead of you.
Yeah.
Joneses be
when
fucking.
you're younger, a year seems like a century.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if nowadays people are like, oh, I did this at 25 and you're 26. You need to catch up. Like, years now are going by like way too quickly.
Totally.
But back then, if like my friend was 13 and got her nose pierced, it was like, if I don't get my nose pierced, I'm not going to be cool when I'm 13.
Mm-hmm. I remember shaving I actually just read one of my old diaries because we had a flood in this apartment this week. It's been a week. And my diaries all sit in a plastic bag under my bed. Thank God for the plastic bag.
Genius of you.
I was reading in my diary, I'm 9 years old. It's fourth grade. And I'm like, I went to camp and I shaved my legs and now I feel like a woman. And it's like, what is this 9-year-old? Why does she think she has to be a woman? You're 9.
I remember my friend who was like 11. Some guys were like, she shaves her legs and wears a thong. And it's so funny. To this day, I have thongs. I don't wear thongs. I wear granny panties.
I also have a doodle of the first thong I ever wore in 7th grade. I said, this is what my butt looked like. I'm going to post these on the Instagram. You guys can see a few of my diary pages. But after the flood, a lot of you guys wrote in about how concerned you were for me and Grace and my Helix mattress, which I thought was hilarious because I guess I talked about it too much on this podcast, but I'm going to do it again. Okay, so as I was saying, the Helix mattress is safe and we are happy because it is the best mattress in the world. It has completely changed my life. There was one night this week I woke up and I was in a really cranky mood and Charlotte's like, where did you sleep last night? And I was like, at Ben's house. And she's like, go home to your Helix. Because literally it's changed how I sleep. It changed it's like the best. I don't even eat in my bed anymore because I like respect my bed, which just makes me more of an adult, I think. But if you guys want your own Helix sleep mattress, you got to get one. They've got a 2-minute sleep quiz that matches you to your perfect mattress based on your body type and your sleep preferences. The mattresses are customized to your unique needs. No more compromising on a mattress that wasn't designed for you. They even make mattresses for couples with different preferences. They split the mattress down the middle to meet each person's need and sleep style. And they have a 10-year warranty, and you can try the mattress for 100 nights risk-free, and they'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it. But as I've always said, I know you will. So if you want your own Helix Sleep mattress, go to helixsleep.com/howcome, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and you'll have the best time. Right now, Helix is offering up to $125 off all mattress orders. So get up to $125 off at helixsleep.com/howcome. Again, that is helixsleep.com/howcome for up to $125 off your mattress order.
Also, like Helix sleep mattresses are the best for fucking.
Yep. It's true.
They've literally gotten awards for that.
Yep. So Gabby and we were talking before, and she had like kind of a Freudian slip that like she was like, yeah, we were both hooking up with that guy or whatever, and we weren't both hooking up with that guy.
They were friends.
But
we were
there was
hooking up
two
with a pair
guys
of
that
friends.
we were hooking up with.
That's fun.
But it reminded me of our story of a different type of competition.
Do you have the same taste in guys?
I
No.
don't think so now.
We
No,
were just very
I think-
competitive.
Yeah, and
we had the same group of friends. It was a very small circle.
yeah, like there was only one guy who was like the right guy to hook up with or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, it was like you got to get that one.
Oh, yeah, before you know what your type is, and you're just like, he looks like Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah, like you know how you were saying you only hook up with like, or you were joking that you only hook up with really tall. Like I used to keep an Excel spreadsheet of all the people I'd hook up with, and I would talk about like their major in college, their height.
Oh my God, like
height was
Pokemon
like
cards.
exactly.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so before I established my type, which is very different from Gabby's, we had a crush on the same boy, and we were like, what do we do? And I was like, well, why don't we play puppy? Which is like, you know, when you put a puppy in the middle of a room and you see who he goes to, who he likes.
But you just like have to have a puppy.
No.
I wish it had had a puppy. I feel like that would have been a much
a
better
puppy
time.
would have been much more
So you're
fun.
saying-
The boy was the puppy.
You're saying
The
we fight to the death and see who he wants.
Or like, yeah, we
and then we
both flirt with
sacrificed the
him
puppy
separately.
on a funeral pyre.
I love that. Burn him on the stake.
Oh yeah.
But like you've got two girls on the show who are interested in the same guy right now in Summer House.
You know, it's funny.
And they kind of said, oh, well, we'll just see who he likes.
And yeah, it's tough. I mean, from my perspective, when we got in the house, there's clearly only like one dude that was fuckable, and that was Carl. And like
Yeah.
he was tall, and I could tell there was a moment where like he was like talking to me and
Yeah,
Paige.
yeah.
Like people don't know this, but the second week we were in the hot tub, and he was like, "Do you want to make out?" And I was like, I don't think so. But I remember knowing like she thought he was hot, I thought he was kind of hot, and I just like really thought about it, and I was like, if he like comes for me, then like I'll consider it.
Yeah.
But like I'm not gonna fight for this because I deep down know that like I didn't really have chemistry with Carl.
Sure.
It's hard when you're that young, but it's like you really want to think deeply. Like, is this me being competitive just because he's hot and I want attention?
Yeah.
Or like, do I actually think we're good together?
It was definitely the former for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a interesting experience. I was dating my freshman year a freshman hockey guy, like 2 weeks in. We're like making out. He thinks I'm cute. I'm on the tennis team. It was like perfect. I'm like, college is amazing. I'm like, but it's in tennis season, you leave to play tournaments every weekend. And I had made a new best friend also. We were married on Facebook. Her name was like Emily or some shit, and we looked very alike.
It's complicated.
So he texts me and goes, hey, like we're having this like crazy hockey party. Can you come? And I was like, no, I have a tournament this weekend. Then I got a text from Emily saying, hey, John asked me to like go to the party. Is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a big hockey party. Like they invite as many girls as they can. Like, go have fun. Second week, we were playing ping pong together, and I invited her to come, and he brought his friend, and they were like kind of flirting. I saw them exchange numbers, but like he was mine. Like we'd been hooking up for 2 weeks. It was a big deal on campus. So then she texts me and goes, I made out with John.
She single white forehanded you.
You said it, bitch. You said it. So me and my other friend are like, we need to sit her down. And I remember sitting her down at the cafeteria freshman year, and I was like, look, I really like you as a friend, and you choosing this like disgusting hockey dude who's just gonna dump you in a second because he's a freshman hockey player over our friendship is like so fucked up. And I like am not a dramatic person, but I remember being like, I hope this shit is real.
Yeah.
Because you just lost a friendship over a makeout with this hockey dude. Long story short is they got married and have children.
Oh,
Wow.
all right. So she's excused.
But like part of me thinks they stayed together in spite of me.
They
would
probably
see them
did.
out. I'd see them out and I'd be really drunk, and we all went to like the same sports bar, and I'd be like, you're welcome. And they like, we never like talked it out, but I'd be drunk and be like, you're welcome. Yeah, you two sitting together, you're welcome. But long story short is that, yeah, like make sure there's something there, and you can never be for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been wrong to this point in my life.
You can know your own
about guys,
motivations.
But at least have butterflies. At least have something in common.
Don't get it competitive, and don't let it affect your ego if a guy chooses another girl over you. Like for a second, I was like a little annoyed that Carl was like getting so obsessed with Paige, and I'm like, Carl, I'm your type too. Like I'm athletic, funny, brunette, whatever you want. But then I was like, oh, like Carl and I are brother and sister.
We wouldn't work out.
It would be terrible, and he has anger issues, and that would trigger me. And there were so many. So like, don't. That's why like it's not trying to find the best person, which is what we would argue earlier.
Yeah.
Like finding someone who's like Billy McFarland on paper.
Yeah.
It's finding the person
one
who's
for
right
you.
for you. And the only way you know you're you is if you're being your weird self. Otherwise, you'll attract the wrong men. Da da ding, da da doom.
Exactly.
So I would love to talk about someone on your show who is not doing that at all.
I would love to talk about him
think
as
it's
well.
a perfect time.
which
Yeah.
is Jordan. What is the deal with that?
So Jordan's confusing because he's one of those guys who like has an app, and like he's from a Southern military family, moved to New York City, like models.
Most
He's-
eligible
I know
guy
because
on
he
Hinge.
mentions it every episode.
Yeah, just ask him.
Okay, this is the problem with most eligible guy on Hinge. Just like my 2 cents of what's happening. We worked at Betches together. Betches had a partnership with Hinge. He was friends with the Hinge's marketing person. The app never broke. He maybe got 5 followers from the article.
Hilarious.
Let's move on. So like,
Also,
but-
Kyle said he's been most eligible bachelor on an app roundup like many
Yeah, like,
times.
it's a
this
thing.
isn't.
It's a very like Billy McFarland kind of thing where you make up a fake accolade and then make that your identity.
Totally.
Yeah, and he's someone who I think has created this facade that like he works so hard on, to the point that I think he doesn't know who he is right now. And reality TV is making him go through this like interesting
Self-discovery.
And he's such a sweet, nice person, but I feel like he's trying to come off really cool, and he doesn't know how to do that. So he's just coming off as a douchebag. Like he's like, I made out 3 girls. Like Paige is a Lamborghini, Danielle's a rent-a-car. I'm like, bro, like
No,
you're
that
30
really-
years old.
That made me so mad. You and I were in the Hamptons when we saw that. and I was
Yeah.
like, this fucking
Yeah.
guy wanted
And
to
then
punch the screen.
It's one of those things where there's so many people. I think you get addicted to lying.
yeah.
'Cause once you lie a little, you just keep going, and you love, like, you'd rather get attention for lying than who you really are.
Well, because that's what's been feeding your ego more. You know, this is a great Mark Twain quote, but the man who doesn't lie doesn't have to remember anything he said.
Oh, I just got chills.
Right? So, like, if you can just be yourself, you don't have to think about everything you ever said in your life, which I think is really clogging up Jordan's brain, is like, what is my storyline? How many girls did I make out with that night? What was my first time story where a girl licked my... When he's telling his first time story... Holy shit.
This is
Was
so
that
good.
the same
This
episode?
is so good for this podcast.
I don't understand. I've been trying to imagine physically
He says
how
that
that
he
works.
It was
had
also in a
sex.
top bunk.
He was in top bunk. He had sex, and then the girl was giving him a blowjob. First of all, when have you ever finished fucking a dude and then been like, "Let me put your soft dick
They
in
don't
my
even
mouth"?
do that
Never.
in. They
It
don't even
doesn't
do that in
happen.
porn because it's so unreal.
Also, if he just
it's no one's fetish.
what girl after a guy's cum wants to give him a blowjob?
And then lick his ass.
And then lick his asshole. And then he kicks her off and apparently broke her nose, which is like definitely the story from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Right, yeah.
So everyone was just like, what? What's great is for people listening to this podcast, I'll give you a little teaser, but he starts claiming there's a reason he's been lying about stuff, and it's something stemming with sex.
I can take
So,
a wild
like,
guess.
you can like tune in to see what happens, and we can talk about it later.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I have my theories.
yeah,
Are you
people have
saying
their
the
theories.
truth is going to come out later?
Possibly not.
Well,
That was-
either
that was
way,
a joke.
like,
that was a pun.
That was a good pun.
oh, I see what you did. I did it
I
before,
see
but
what-
then you pointed it out.
you know a joke is really good when you have to explain it to
Yeah,
everyone.
your friend is really high when she doesn't get a gay joke. But Gabby and I were watching that episode, and we're sitting out in the Hamptons, and we were like, you know he's lying because he keeps he tells the story, he doesn't get the reaction because the story's not so great or whatever. And then he's like, oh, let me add this other part. So she's blowing me. That gets no reaction. So then she licks my asshole, no reaction from the team. And then I kick her actual nose as opposed to her not actual nose.
Also, like
strange
how
words.
flexible is this? I've been trying to figure out physically, like how you would kick a girl in the nose while she's licking your asshole, and that just like, does his leg bend over backwards? Is he like a Pilates instructor?
can we talk about your first orgasm?
I can talk generally about it. It's been really interesting for me to watch you on this journey because I don't really talk about sex.
Yeah,
and we've talked
we
about
didn't.
this. Yeah, even at the time that we were having it, we talk about it as like a
I did it.
Not even I did it. It's like it was more about like the guy, like, oh, I got this guy. Like, and that's I think if I were going to do a podcast, my thing is more about the emotional side of it. Physically, like orgasming was never like a big journey for me. I could just do it by myself. I was probably like 14 or 15
you don't have
by
to brag,
myself.
but like, okay.
I didn't start when I first started having sex. I was probably in my early 20s. But it was always like it wasn't a big deal. But like emotionally being ready for sex and handling it, that was like something I struggled with. And it took me a while to realize like, no, like I'm like I don't like to go along with the crowd, but I very much actually am a relationship girl, and it took me a while to kind of recognize and realize that because we were talking about this before, where it's like I like to be like, oh, I don't care, like nothing bothers me, but I did care and things really bothered me, and accepting that made a big difference in my dating life.
I don't enjoy sex without emotion.
Yeah,
Me neither.
I really don't.
I really don't.
It's like he's masturbating with your vagina.
Yeah, well, I can enjoy it in the moment, but then after I'm like, ugh, like what? This isn't what I want.
But even during it, I have like thoughts. I'm like, I
have thoughts.
That's what
I've got
alcohol is
some
for.
notes. I wrote some minutes after this session.
I have some notes.
Well, you guys,
Call to order.
This has been a blast. I wish it could go on forever.
I know.
I'm obviously going to put some extras on Patreon because we've been talking for long, and I owe the listeners some extras. So this will be a nice long one for you guys. Go to patreon.com/howcome for those. Where can our listeners find you?
Go to @beingbernz, BEINGBERNZ on Instagram, Twitter, and then listen to my podcast, Berning in Hell.
It's amazing. It's about mental health, and you can also watch her on Summer House.
Summer House, Mondays, 10 p.m., or just go to bravotv.com and get all the goods.
Yeah. Gabrielle Bluestone, where can our listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at @Bluestone. I just had to check my Instagram to make sure you knew the handle.
That's adorable.
And I have a book coming out in 18 months, so keep your eyes peeled for hype inside the golden age of grift.
Yes.
That's very exciting.
Ladies, I have to ask this to you at the end of every podcast and sexual experience. Hannah Berner, did you finish?
Oh, I came so hard.
Okay, great. Gabby Bluestone, did you finish?
I'm not going to lie, I could keep going, but I'm good.
Okay. Then maybe we keep going. I don't know. Check it out on Patreon and see how long we went. Charlotte Casimir, did you finish?
I always do when I'm here. Did you?
I didn't. I really didn't. I just want to stay here and talk all day. So maybe we'll just record some more extras for the Patreon. Patreon.com/howcome. You guys, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time or at the live show.
Bye.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just...
I used to think when I would bring guys back to my studio apartment, I would be like, make sure not to talk to Grace in that voice that you do. Like they'll be so...
Shine.
And now,
I love that voice.
I walk around and Ben is also Mita Pita Chine, you know. And if he wasn't Mita Pita Chine, I couldn't be I couldn't be.
I'm telling you,
myself.
I fucked up before. I was in a relationship with a guy that I was like, I was very goal oriented. Like, I want to win this, and I'm like, I will trap his ass. And he like would tell me stories about his exes, and I'm like, noted. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And my list was just like a do not do list.
Yeah.
And you know me, like I'm just very like let it out. So I was just like walking on eggshells all the time. And he was falling in love, and he wanted to move in with me. And then one day I was like, I hate myself with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So like literally first date, tell him you love cats, tell him you love astrology, tell him that like you need lactate pills all the time. Like tell him, because you'll save yourself 9 months.
Lactate, not lactate, in case.
Oh yeah, I say lactate all the time. Lactate. You just start spouting milk and Amy loves it. Yeah. Open your mouth, buddy.
Gonna get the cow for free.
Ooh, I love your little side comments.
Thank you. So glad to have an outlet for them finally.
Oh yeah, people appreciate it.